Hey everyone, we're in the shop and I wanted to talk a little bit about KX500s and the idler gear. I was just talking with Tom Morgan from Tom Morgan Racing, and we were talking last week about the idler gear and what this little gear does. Basically, your kickstart mechanism goes here, your clutch basket goes here, and there's a gear on the clutch. So this little gear is turning all the time, and when your Kickstarter engages and those two gears mesh, the dogs mesh, this gear is the one that will turn this guy and then ultimately this guy over here together. So if this gear starts to get loose or worn on the shaft, and if it somehow goes haywire because this bushing starts to get kind of worn out, then you could have a lot of problem. So one of the things that Tom Morgan does is he will take this gear, he'll take your gear, you send it over to him, and he will machine, well, he'll pop out the old brass or bronze bushing here, and then he'll put in a new one. And you can see this is very different than OEM. The OEM one is a little thinner, it's got dimples on it, and so when you pop this thing in there, oh boy, it's nice. It doesn't flop around. It is much more of a solid fit than the worn out OEM version. It's perfect, and that way you're not going to have this thing start to flip and flop and then maybe grind these gears, because that'll destroy clutch basket. Is very expensive, also destroy your kickstart gear, could also destroy some unobtainium kickstart parts because not all that stuff's available, but this is absolutely fantastic. So what we're going to do, we're going to start the first part of the process. We're going to put on the C-clip that goes here, the circlip, and this goes on the end of the transmission shaft. And I just want to bring up one point, because I asked Tom and Mike about this. On this idler gear, if you are putting this back together, the rounded part of this clip has basically like a rounded piece. I don't know if you can see here where it's kind of a rounded edge, and then it's got a flat edge. You can definitely see the difference. This is sharp, and then this is a little bit more rounded. And I was like, well, which way does the rounded side go? Well, the rounded side will go against the back of the gear, right? So it's going to go like that way. So anyway, we're going to just pop this on real quick, and then I will finish up the project. But I wanted to make the quick video just to show you guys a little bit about this. So we've got here, this is definitely the rounded side. Flat sides here, I can feel the difference. And we're just going to pop that baby all the way to the back. Now there's two grooves. You've got some grooves in the front, and then you got some grooves in the back. And we just lay that right over those grooves. And then that should be it. And the way that we know this is done correctly, we can take our little pick and we can basically make sure, excuse me, that this thing moves around pretty nicely on that gear. So anyway, if you are on that shaft, so if you are having loose idler gear issues, definitely you want Tom Morgan to refinish those and put in a new bushing. And it's Tom Morgan Racing. Check them out, tommorganracing.com, I believe, or just do a Google search. Right, thanks, guys. So just look at that. That is absolutely nice, tight. Now, there's another clip that goes on the other side, the outside here, and now this is pretty much going to go in the opposite way. So the smoother edge here, the rounded side is going to go now in. It's going to basically, you're sandwiching the idler gear with the two clips and the two smoother sides, rounded sides, edges of the clips. So we're going to get that guy on there. Oops. I need to get some new circlip pliers, but so once you get that on there, at least enough, we're going to press it in here, make sure it snaps. That's what a snap ring is supposed to do. Okay, there was your snap. Sorry for the camera movement there. And then what I'm going to do is just make sure this thing can move. And it's definitely tighter than before, because it looks like it's definitely got a really great tight tolerance here now. But you can see this ring moves pretty easily. So it's moving along the groove. I mean, even though it's pretty tight in there, it's definitely moving along the groove. And that means it is in there nicely. And look at that, man, there is like no wobble on that gear. Just barely enough for whatever. And I've got some assembly lube in there, but that's the way this is supposed to be. Thanks a lot, Tom Morgan. Awesome stuff, guys. Check them out. This is the master of a lot of motors, including, of course, the KX500. Factory former mechanic for Jeff Ward and a lot of other guys. Thanks.